Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to First and Ted, coming to you live every Wednesday, 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern. Aaron of 49ers First Takes is the first, and I'm Ted H6 of Ted Talks Ball, the Ted part. Welcome, Aaron. Happy Hump Day. Happy Victory Wednesday. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing all right. I feel like we might have a little bit of spicy interaction today based on, some of the stuff we were talking about off stream and just I get frustrated. I have nothing but love for you though. But, I was just like, "Oh man, this is getting me." For some reason, for the most part, Twitter interactions between other people don't bother me. But sometimes it's like a toothache when it hits and it sends the shockwave. I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna have to subtweet. I'm gonna have to do something. So yeah, but no, I'm good. It's it's a man, what a vibe coming off of that victory. All of a sudden now you're starting to like look at certain teams and you're like, oh, we can win that, we could win that. When we were losing those 3 games, I'm like, I don't think we could beat anybody. So it's like amazing how the mood shifts after just 14 days of a bye week.
There you go. There you go. Well, I mean, well, hopefully I can be your Novocaine since that was the toothache that caused it. But hopefully I can put you out of your misery a little bit, not in like the way that sometimes
take me out back, like the when the horse does no longer any good, and you just put a slug in
Aaron to the glue factory, folks.
You're gonna get a lot of glue.
Me too. Although I did hop on the scale, and I'm down 10 pounds.
Nice.
But it was from a really, really high number. I heard somebody, I think it was Dibs on 95.7 The Game, was talking about how like he was about to start a diet, so he like went on a binge so he could gain some like easy weight to lose.
I feel like I did that too one time when I was about to start a diet. I ate like a whole can of Pringles. I went and got really salty like chicken with like biscuits and stuff, and like, dude, I swelled up like a puffer fish, right? And then I got sick and he had the pukes, and like after that I started losing weight. But like, man, my body got mad at me. They were like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna ingest all the salt." I swelled up. I'm like, wow, that's what old age is like. You eat too much salt and you blow out. So
yeah, I've had some kind of hack ever since last week. You missed it, but on Thursday I went and got 3 vaccines. I got the flu vaccine and COVID. I always do the flu. COVID I did because it's a new vaccine, not a booster. And I'm over 50, and so over 50 you're supposed to do shingles vaccines if you
had shingles,
chicken pox. You've had shingles?
Yep, I got it at about 30
Holy
or 31.
Shit. That's really some really bad luck.
I got it right here.
And that's the worst place to get it, like in the eye. Is like,
and
that's where
they had to check my eyes and stuff.
Yeah,
I was like working one day for a couple days, and I'm like, do I have like a pimple? Because I don't really. And then like it started to burn really bad, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, what is going on with me? So I go to the doctor, and immediately they're like, yeah, you're out of work. You have shingles. So I was out of work, I think, for like 2 weeks, which was cool. But I was scared because I had to go to the eye doctor. They had to check inside my eyes to make sure it didn't, go into my.
I think you can lose vision from it and stuff.
Yeah, what happens is it can happen if you have a lot of stress and a lack of sleep. Those are, and I was going through both of those things. Yeah.
New baby, not even 2 months old, or is he 2 months? No, not even. He'll be 2 months old on the 18th, so that's been stressful. Although he is starting to sleep and not cry as much, so hopefully that continues. Knock on wood. Keep going, buddy. So let's take a quick look. We got a lot of folks in the house, a lot of chat going on here. Who knows if we'll ever catch up? We got Nancy Cameron as a new member of TED Talks Ball. I think she might be my first one. So Nancy, thank you. Congratulations. You should have some kind of cool TED Talks Ball logo emojis available to you now. So when you type, you can put them in. I think it should show up too. I guess there's just a little star by it. But and Red Jet Shell looks like she's a member now as well too. So we got 2 people joining. Let me see how I get to Red Jet here. Here we go. New member. There we go. Thank you.
Sweet.
This is awesome. I never expected that to happen, and really nice serendipity. So thank you everybody for joining.
Sweet serendipity.
Yeah, we got Jim Everett the Great was here early. He said you clowns are delusional, especially Krug. I mean, if you want to make fun of Krug on my show, buddy, feel free anytime. You're going to get no argument from me. He and I have had bad blood for a while. He blocked me a while back. Second time. Blocked me for the second time a while back when he was telling me to say I was wrong about Purdy. And then I did say I was wrong about Purdy. And then I was wondering if I was wrong about saying I was wrong. And,
he went from being one of my favorite people, especially when I used to listen to the Red and Gold rap. I used to want to call in and talk to him all the time. Had him on my channel like 3 or 4 times. He was great. And then he got big and all that changed. Like completely changed personality. Which is whatever, it's bully mentality. So
Randy says Purdy's elite as F. He says breaks new records, reaches new milestone every week. I don't think he did there for 3 weeks there, Randy, but you were saying it well before then. So props to Randy for being on the elite train before some others.
Aaron is not on that train, but he does love Brock very much.
Yeah,
I have a lot of admiration for him.
I like Brock a lot. But as always, I hate the hyperbole. And the hyperbole spewers are back.
I've got to see these people.
They're back. It's like, oh, he's better than Mahomes. He's elite. He's top 3.
Why can't we just let stuff play out?
Yeah.
Why does everything have to be like he sucks or
so quick to crown?
Oh my God.
And they don't understand the eliteness of the scheme and these weapons and our run game.
I made a short today.
Yeah.
Got, good amount of views on TikTok. I said it twice. He is the perfect quarterback for Kyle's system. The perfect quarterback for Kyle's system.
Most perfect we've seen, I'll say.
Yes.
Most perfect we've seen so far.
And that's all that matters.
Yeah, that is.
Let's not care about all the other
it could be enough
stuff that is like he's elite, he's next Montana. Who cares? Like I'm enjoying the season right now. I could care less.
On the lines of wait and see, you'll be glad to know that I updated my weekly ranking.
Oh, geez. Me and Bashar were like, we got to get a hold of Ted and stop this.
So I bumped him back up to 8 to 12.
I saw that.
8 to 12, where he was after the Cards game. Or was it? It was after the Brown. Well, I guess it was after the Cards and after the Browns. So he was going downwards. Got to 6 to 9 Cowboys, back to 8 to 12 for after the Browns. And then yesterday I was looking for Kurt Bankert because he's been right in my range the whole time. And I said to somebody, I must have been Pedro on Monday. I said, I wouldn't be surprised if he's a little bit lower than me because I said 8 to 12. I wouldn't be surprised if Bankert is 7. And sure shit, he came out yesterday. Well, funny thing was, there was no ranking in the morning, and so like I DM'd him. I'm like, "Hey, dude, you gonna do your QB rankings?" I'm very, I didn't say it, but I'm thinking to myself, I'm very curious to see what you have to say.
We talk about TTG and Ted Talks Ball, TTB. How about it's TBD right now?
TBD.
To be determined.
Yeah, I said that all along that Purdy and someone else were both TBD. I mean, Purdy's a lot less TBD than our departed one. He's proved a lot more, and God bless him. He's doing a great job, especially for a young quarterback. There's so much to like. I'm just not ready to put him. For me, elite is top 5. I'm just not ready to put him there yet, but maybe soon.
The only quarterbacks I would consider elite in the NFL are Joe Burrow and Mahomes. And Mahomes is actually quite a bit above Burrow because he's won 2 Super Bowls and he's been an integral part in winning those 2 Super Bowls.
Well, I'll get in a lot of trouble here, and I will say that I still am riding or dying on the hill of Josh Allen. I think Herbert, too. They both have faltered a little bit of late.
Herbert is not elite to me. He's done nothing in this league.
I got Lamar creeping in there.
Physical traits shouldn't equal elite. It should be like half physical traits and half accomplishments.
Well, I'll just say this about Josh Allen. He wasn't the 12th man on the field.
I know.
Missed the field goal and gave him the freaking game. They literally handed the guy, here you go, try it again. From
Me and my
34
brother,
yards.
I'm not going to lie, he's a Dolphins fan. We hate the Bills, right? And I didn't really hate them last year, but what happened was when the Niners lost in the playoffs, I saw some Bills fan post, finally the Niners are done. I'm so sick of them. And I was like, oh, so that's how it's going to be. So me and Jared were dying after that Bills game ended. We like high five. We were just like, same thing with the Cowboys when they lose. It's hilarious. I die laughing. I told my brother, I was like, I said, I can laugh. I says, but it's not like we don't have our own problems with our own teams. And he's like, yeah, it's true. So, but like I got a big kick out of seeing that ending where like they won and then they took the end of the game off the scoreboard and stuff. So that was hilarious to me.
So Randy Daytona, Purdy wasn't drafted to a great team that had just been to a Super Bowl and an NFC Championship in 2 of the last 3 years. I'd say that's actually better than what Mahomes was drafted to. They didn't make the Super Bowl.
I think they both were
Smith.
Drafted to a great team.
They both were. Yeah. So I'm saying using that as an example, it doesn't differentiate Mahomes from Purdy. I would say the Niners are actually a much stronger team.
I would take
because the KC Chiefs had no D when they drafted Mahomes. They were 31st in the league, at least the year he took over. I don't know about the year they drafted in 2017, but 2018 they were 31st in the league when he dragged them to the AFC Championship game, and they were 1 D forward offsides away from making it to the Super Bowl. So that's when you say elite, is when you carry your team, when you elevate everybody, you get them to heights that they've never seen before and would never see with anyone else, or reasonably with anyone else. That's when I say elite. Maybe a couple other people in the league. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you.
I feel Brock, to me, this is my opinion, he's 3/4. It's like he is partially a system quarterback. I can be honest and say that, but it's not a derogatory in like the ways that some people where you can just slide any guy in there and be like he can run this too, because not everybody can. Certain quarterbacks who have massive egos wouldn't survive in this team or on this offense because they would have to be. They'd have to I can't throw the ball 50 times. I have to let the coach call run plays and all sorts of window dressing. But I think there's a bit of somebody who's right for the system. And I also think he has enough requisite skill in his, short little body that, I'm all 2 things could be right. You know what I mean? He could be a system QB and be really good just in general. So
there you go. Nancy Cameron says, stop by guide dogs for the blind. I'm not sure what that means, but I know we did some work with a charity in Santa Rosa called Canine Companions for Independence that help people that weren't necessarily for blind people, but there's lots of other disabilities besides blindness that maybe the dogs, the top-notch dogs go to the blind people, and then like the ones that are just almost as good, not quite, go for Canine Companions for Independence. It's a great charity. Just had to put that plug in there. Had some interesting comments, but here's the thing for me, Aaron, and remind me to come back to Josh Allen when we get a chance, because I'm going to get distracted here for sure. You know what? This is what it all comes down to for me. Would you pay Brock Purdy franchise QB? And again, let's wait and see. Like, we don't have to decide that right now.
I couldn't say.
Would you right now? Like, if
no.
for some reason, like,
no,
this was put up or shut up time.
No.
Are you ready to pay him $50 million a year?
No way in hell.
That's
no way in hell.
That's when you're elite. When you're elite, you're ready to pay him elite money and take the lumps that come with that, which means no Devo,
You're going to have some talent, but you won't be as loaded as we are.
No, right. You're not going to have the highest of the high paid at every position like we do. You may have 1 or 2, but you're not going to have 5 or 6 like we do now. So yeah, that's really what it all comes down to me. So I love that one. Always drip. Also, Man Cave's here. He's my Thursday co-host. He's a Browns fan and really great guy. We've been going back for a few weeks. I had him on before the Bengals game, and he was going to bring a Bengals creator, and it didn't work out. But we vibed so well that we just started doing our own show, weekly show. I think we're going to call it Faithful Dogs. So like faithful for, dog pound and faithful mix there. So that's what we're calling it. I need to just get some kind of a overlay on it. I haven't worked on it yet. So I apologize, Big Mike, but I will maybe give that a swing tonight, or maybe if I need to call in for heavy duty help and call in, obviously Mr. Roscoe's when you really want to get it right.
I actually have a couple things in the works too. There's a guy that I used to work with who's a Bills fan. Messaged me out of nowhere the other day, and he's like, "Hey, Aaron, thinking of starting a podcast. Need some info." And I told him I guess he's doing an audio podcast. And I asked, he's like, "What kind of microphone?" I told him which one. He's like, "I have that one. That's what my wife bought me." I was like, "What program?" I told him if you have a Mac, you can use GarageBand. Apparently he must have an Apple. So he's doing that. And then there's a guy that I work with. We're both from Rochester, New York, right? So we're thinking about doing some sort of I don't know, maybe a show with a Niners base, but have it in a New York map, the outline of New York, kind of
I like that.
I forget the name. Cool. I had a name going. But essentially it would be two guys from Rochester, New York talking Niners. I think it would be called 49ers State of Mind, kind of like New York State of Mind from Jay-Z.
Yeah.
So, and maybe say, I'll have to look at if there's any imaging from Jay-Z's, if there was any imaging from that song, from the video or anything that I could kind of almost copy a little bit. So, yeah.
There you go. Nancy was saying that you can get it again. So definitely make sure you get that shingles vaccine when you hit 50.
That's good to know. Thanks.
They say that 2/3 of people that had chicken pox will get shingles.
I had chicken pox as a little kid, and I got it really bad.
Yeah. So
when you got it bad when you're a little kid, if you get it on your when you get it on your Jimmy.
Oh man. One of my worst poison oak experiences, I had it all over my entire body. It was creeping in from every direction, up my legs, down my torso, and luckily spared the Jimmy.
The jibs.
But oh man, that's brutal.
The old twig and berries. Sorry, I can't help myself.
That's all right. So they're just giving me some diet advice. Randy said your body's job is to maintain your weight you're at. It's very hard to get weight off. It's true. He said no sugar, carbs, caffeine, nicotine, or refined salt. So the no sugar, that's been easier now that Halloween has passed. Carbs, I'm trying to cut down a little bit on. Caffeine, I don't think I'll be able to cut. Nicotine, I already cut a few years ago.
Good man.
Along with everything else.
Good man.
Along with the booze and the weed.
I can't believe people even smoke in 2023, 24. It's
crazy.
So gross. It's so bad.
And refined salt. I wonder, we use Maldon salt. I don't think that's refined. I think that's salt flakes that are not refined. I think it's more natural. I think it's more what happens. I think it's chipped off of a big salt block, not anyway, I don't know. I'll have to find out if it is. Maybe we'll have to redo our salt situation. And obviously cut down on salt. That's the tough one for me because salt is flavor along with fat.
You know how I would lose weight if I didn't have a bad knee? Just have somebody with a fishing pole holding a piece of pizza floating in the air and just have me chase it like a dog everywhere.
Oh, that sounds good. The guy with the dollar bill on there from the
commercial. So close, almost got it. Yeah, that would be me. My brother would be like that, or
it'd be like the Italian Sicilian version.
Yeah, maybe have some breadsticks from Olive Garden hanging off of that too.
Aaron, run faster, Aaron.
That'd be my mother. She's all small and quick. All right, let's
Chase Young stays healthy and plays like last Sunday. 49ers need to figure out how to keep him long term.
Yes. Yes.
I would just caution against that. Not keeping him if he keeps it up. I'm just thinking that he will keep it up, because before the Jags game in my article, one of the things I called out, one of the Achilles heels of the Jags was their O-line. I think they were rated something like second worst going into the game. So that was a known weak spot for them. I also called out Tank Bigsby as being a fumbling risk. He didn't fumble, but he did tip the ball to Hufanga that was eminently catchable. So bad hands showed up, even though it wasn't technically a fumble. It was pretty damn similar in my book. And then the other one was their returner, but he got hurt early in the game, so he didn't have much chance to fumble. But anywho, yeah, I mean, he just the way he and Bosa vibe, and just like them on the sideline after they do well, and it's just like it'd be almost like separating two puppies, in a way.
My whole thing is who is somebody you could we part with? And the first person I think about is Eric Armstead.
Yeah.
We don't need Eric Armstead. He's not that important to this defense. I hate to say it. And a lot of people are like, oh, what are you talking about? You gotta get rid of Armstead. Yes, we can. We have a first, second round pick. Go get a defensive tackle in the second round who does the same thing. You got Hargrave there. You have Bosa. You have, Chase.
Yeah, we're going to draft something else, Aaron, and we'll sign a defensive tackle, because last time we drafted to replace Tifo, look how it went. We can't put that on another youngster.
That's true. You can't. You're right. I'm
totally
against
2.0.
play pick for pick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, if you guys are on like other sites, say like Twitter, come over to YouTube and watch instead. Just saying.
There you go. Frank Tom Ocean in the house, giving us
we're
the
on both
TNA.
channels, right? What's that?
Frank Tom FTO giving us the TNA.
Yeah, baby.
Welcome, Frank Tom.
All day, every day.
Man Cave says, what's going on, Ted? Big ass win. These are kind of old now. I should probably skip to the bottom again. I think we're kind of caught up. I just want to make sure. Danielle Thompson in the house. I didn't see her on the first pass. So, all right. Yeah. Now we're caught up. So now let me scoot to the bottom. I hate doing it this way, guys. I'm sorry, but I swear if I try to like piecemeal downwards, I never catch up. Givens isn't very expensive, Randy. I don't think he makes Chase Young money.
Yeah, he doesn't affect the money. The pecking order, like say Armstead.
He was a late round. I want to say like a 5th or 6th round draft, or undrafted even maybe.
You could move on from Juszczyk too, and that's if
Juszczyk's that's $5 million a year, and 7 million cap hits in the next 2 years. That
like, when do we really ever use him?
But we were supposed to use Jack Coletto to replace him,
right? And we let him go.
We should have drafted the guy from North Dakota State. I'm blanking on his name right now, but he's a Dallas Cowboy, unfortunately now.
Brock Purdy or Trey Lance?
No, a fullback, man. A fullback.
Oh, I was going to say Trey Lance is he's inactive.
Yeah, well, he's missed all of camp and almost all of preseason, so he had no chance to learn their system this year. It won't be till next year, most likely, barring injury. Am I the only one who thinks Ray Cloud gets as much a return specialist as we need?
Yeah, he's been okay.
Yeah,
he's been okay. He's good. He's solid.
He's just our Debo backup, though. That's he's pretty valuable in that respect. Although clearly we miss Debo a ton, so maybe we need a better Debo backup.
Let's be honest. Even if you're a Brock Purdy fan, Debo makes a big difference for everybody, not just Purdy, but for the whole offense. Trent Williams too. Two of the most important guys. You don't know until you don't know, and when you do find out, you're like, wow, those guys are really important.
Randy says Armstead should be gone. Randy was right about 3 out of our 4 losses. He did think we would lose to the Jags, but the other 3 he nailed. So, Randy, I'm curious to know your prediction for the Bucs game. I'll be there this weekend.
You could be like, what's his name from Rocky? What's your prediction for the fight? Pain. Your prediction for the game.
Yeah, Mr. T. Great line, great movie. I mean, that's one of those great movies where like Rocky's great, Rocky 2 is even better, Rocky 3, I don't know if it's better, but it's like right on par with Rocky 2. Like those, they say sequels are never as good, but
Rocky 4 is like a bunch of just a bunch of like montages.
Yeah.
And then Rocky 5 is the movie you want to forget.
Yeah.
Sea salt.
Yeah, I think Maldon is sea salt, so that's good. I think that's what we got. And Pink Himalayan. I bought that. I think my wife threw it out though. She wasn't down with that. So
I wonder if we should keep it back on the field here so we don't lose people.
There you go. We can agree on Purdy. James Renault coming to us from across the pond. We can agree on Purdy not being elite because everybody throws the word elite like candy on Halloween. Elite should be reserved for the best 3 in their position. Josh Allen ain't elite. We got into it the other day.
He's pretty good. I don't think he's elite.
Good reminder.
Throws too many interceptions to be elite.
This is a good reminder. Yeah, the thing about his interceptions, though, as I was saying, is that they're not all created equal. You know, he'll heave it way downfield a 50-50 ball on 3rd down, and if it gets picked, then you know it's an arm punt at that point. And it's very different than like throwing it over the middle underneath on 2nd down or 1st down, you know, to a linebacker, and it's only 5-10 yards down the field.
I just feel like they depend on him too much for everything.
They do. They do.
Get a run
lot
game
of times
for
he's their
crying out
leading
loud.
rusher. That's never good.
Get a run game and an offensive line that can block in the run game. Like they are
saw with Purdy, where he was our leading rusher a little bit there,
right?
At least for one game, and so that's never a good thing when your QBs.
Yeah, I have the red forehead when I have a hat on, just like McCaffrey.
Nice.
I get a stupid line. It's like I don't know why that is.
MVP. When Brock's contract is up, he will get paid, guaranteed.
I don't know. Let's not even think about that right now.
But that's the question. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you know, trying to look ahead. Like, will you feel like he's ready for that? I don't know. You'd let Purdy walk in. No. I mean, if right now, if it was like next year, pay Purdy $50 million or let him walk. Yeah, I would let him walk next year. But in 2025, when we actually have to pay him, probably not, because he'll probably improve. I mean, I'm hoping he improves. So we'll see, Randy. Don't box me in like that, man. They'll come for me on the timeline. Is Bosa elite? People don't want to pay him. What about Debo? Is he elite? Bosa is definitely elite. He's top 3. Debo is not an elite wide receiver, but Debo is an elite wide back. So,
100%.
I mean, that's the thing. Is top 3. Are there even 3? That's the harder part.
Debo has his own category.
But as a playmaker, I think he's top 3. He adds a toughness. That's what I was saying when him and Trent were out. Was like, it's not just the skill that we miss of those guys. It's their toughness. They make our offense tough. Those 2 dudes and Kittle are the ones who make people scared. They'll literally truck you and then like laugh in your face. And if you want to fight, then they'll fight you too. At least Debo and Trent will. We saw that before the Browns game. Oh, that was so embarrassing. Got Brad Culp in the house. Oh, well, of course we do. I'm sorry for not calling you out before I read your comment, Brian. Everybody make sure you check out his channel and his wife, Tony. She's amazing. The Women of the Niners Roundtable every Saturday night at 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern. Randy says, who are you going to wait for? Are you taking your chances in the draft? I mean, I think we kind of are set up to where we kind of have to keep drafting QBs and hope we get our next Purdy before Purdy comes up on his contract, assuming that he doesn't take a huge step. I think he could, but I think if you're betting, or let's just say he stays the same, and like it's through injuries between now and then, it's clear that 1 or 2 of the big guys are out, like we're compromised, then you can't have 1 or 2 of the big guys out all the time. And I don't know. It's really tough. How do you get rid of a really good quarterback? Because he's really good. He's, like I said, 8 to 12. I got him at now. That's maybe top 10. Top 10 is franchise. That means you're not looking for another quarterback typically, but nobody else is built like us. Nobody else has all these stars and an 800K QB. I mean, so it's I don't know. What do you think, Aaron?
I think we all need to just chill the hell out and let the season play out, and let's see where we go, and then we'll go from there, and maybe let next season play out too.
I think Jess agrees with you. Why can't we
I think we need to stop with this rush to label and categorize everything all the time. It is annoying. The one thing I can't stand is like you have a really good game and all of a sudden the Niners are back. Okay, maybe, but let's continue. Like, or Purdy has a great game, and then is Purdy still the guy? And you have somebody say, "Well, I never said he wasn't. He never wasn't the guy." Then you lose 3 straight, and you got people on ESPN saying, "Is he going to get benched? Is this it for Purdy?" It's like it's just so hot and cold. It's so within the moment. Everybody is so attached to the moment, instead of just letting the thing play out as a whole. I'm so sick of it. It's like I stay off Twitter during games because people are just, they're not even arguing about the game. They're arguing about their stance or their narrative on what they stand on, but on a particular player during a game. And I'm like, dude, the Niners are playing right now. Keep that for the off season. Like, and it's not like we're a bad team and, our season's over already. We have 1 or 2 victories. We're still in the thick of it. We're tied with Seattle. We play them soon. We have a chance to, get ahead of them and all that and the other. And like, we're worried about like, like me and Bashar, 49er Miner, are talking off about how people are so adamant about hating Brock Purdy because of what happened with Trey Lance that they're not even enjoying the season. They just are on their soapbox talking about how this is just outrageous and he should never have been done like he was. And yet the seasons we're almost in the middle of November. It's just, I wish social media didn't exist right now, just for the fact that people are just so caught up in living in the moment instead of just enjoying. I realized I stayed off Twitter for the majority of the game that was on Sunday, and then I went in at the end, and the Niners were doing good, of course, but like, it's a cesspool of just people losing their minds consistently, including myself sometimes. So.
Including myself sometimes, no doubt about it. I was listening as you were saying that, thinking about me making those arguments from time to time. Laura Cat in the house. Say good afternoon, Aaron and Ted. Love to see you both today. Lovely to see you too, Laura Cat. Thanks for joining. Man Cave, this is I think where I left off, said Josh falling down the hill fast. The other thing I would say about Josh Allen, not only are some of his interceptions arm punts that are basically not super costly, and it's a 50-50 ball, folks. Like 50% of the time, it's a huge, massive play, maybe game-changing play in his favor. The other part too, though, is I got into this on the timeline recently, which was interceptable balls. And I had somebody telling me like, well, they just start keeping track of this year, these interceptable balls. All that matters is what's intercepted and what ain't, like, come on, man. And I was like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, we talked about it, I think, where there was a point in the season where Purdy had four interceptable balls and none intercepted. And poor Matt Stafford, and I hate the Rams, but I felt bad for him in that he'd only thrown 3 interceptable balls, yet had 5 picks. So 5-0 off less, interceptable balls. Like, your receivers got to catch the ball. I was just talking about Tank Bigsby in the game against the Jags on Sunday. Like, I'm not blaming Trevor Lawrence because Tank Bigsby popped it up to Huff. That's not Lawrence's fault.
I blame him on the one to Fred Warner though.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll say this though.
Like I said, not all interceptions are created equal. And so I really wish there was a category of like, oh yeah, that should have been a catch, but it was an interception. It hit your receiver right in the bread box, like right in the numbers.
Put Red Jet's comment on the board on the screen.
Right. Let me scoot on down.
Towards the bottom. It's like the bottom 6.
Bottom 6. Okay.
The pushback with my take regarding people debating stances is people don't have common sense. 100%. It's lost because you're not rocking with one narrative or another. It's all bad. Like,
they see these stats.
It's the disease of social media. It's people have a literal disease of like, I'm watching a game here and I'm looking at conversations and people are talking about a guy who's inactive in Dallas, how we screwed him over and things would be different. And I bet you our offense would be better and yada, yada, yada. It's like, dude, it's over. Let it go. Why are we living in the past? You know what I mean? Like, as far as interceptions, though, I want to change the subject and things being interceptable. Montana in the Super Bowl against the Bengals almost threw a pick. And then the next play, Jerry Rice scored a touchdown. So if we're going to go with that, I guess we have to, we even have to go after Joe Montana in that respect, right?
No, somebody did come at me with that argument too. He says, well, then Joe wasn't elite because you had Jerry and John Taylor and Brent Jones and, and then he of course listed Clark and Solomon and Russ Francis, RIP, who just passed away recently. and those guys are all very solid weapons. But man, I'm telling you, Solomon wasn't Debo, Russ Francis wasn't Kittle, and I mean, Dwight Clark was a hell of a receiver, but he was not elite. And I'm like, now, quick, name me the running back and fullback from that era. You can't, because I can't. And I was a fan back then. I don't even remember who the heck it was. They were not. No, I think it might have been Wendell Tyler, but I think that was even later. Yeah, I think that might have even been later. And he had fumble issues like crazy. But bottom line is, Montana won 2 rings before he got Jerry Rice and John Taylor and Brent
That's what
Jones.
I always tell people who like to go down that route. I'm like, you do realize they're like, well, those guys were good. I'm like,
they're good, but they
weren't great.
None of them were elite. They were not elite in that era at all. They were like 3/4. They're good. They weren't looking to replace them, but you definitely would look for an upgrade if there was one possible. And there were lots of people who would be upgrades over them.
What's up?
We got Joe Stevens in the house. He said, saw the title. Yes, he is. So he's saying Brock Purdy is elite. This is a Seahawks fan. Does that mean that Geno's elite because you were having a hard time saying he was better than Geno? How does that work, Joe?
We can't see people, see what happens when we throw things around.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Because he was loath to say that Purdy was better than Geno, but
I mean, everybody's cooking dinner in this chat. People talk about eating, Wingstop and cooking bread and
got to put up my TED Talks grub overlay, get some food talk going. I know you're always hungry when we're doing this. It's right before you go.
Always hungry.
Better
than marry me a woman that knows how to
thirsty,
cook.
Aaron.
I'm thirsty too. I just keep it to myself. When you're my age, it's not good to admit you're thirsty in public. So I just admit it on here because girls will be like, ew, or women.
Creepy old man.
You creepy old bastard. You gimpy, one-legged, broken knee. You know what I mean? Like, just don't say anything.
We got Francisco Paco Barreras in the house. We're on our run. Why are we talking about this crap? There you go.
Because it's out there, my man.
Because people are coming at me with it. That's why I get attacked. People have a special vendetta against me because I was honest about Brock and I had honest concerns about his interceptions in camp and his injury and his play in 2022 before all that. And he's played better in 2023. I mean, especially the 2.3 games, the end of Giants, Cards, Cowboys, and now this Jags game, better than anything I saw in 2022. So hats off. He's improving. At least the highs are getting higher at the very least.
That touchdown pass to Kittle was one of the best throws I've seen him make so far.
It was, but was it OPI?
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. That's what I was saying.
The refs were thinking about the Super Bowl, though, and they were like, oh, we screwed them in Super Bowl against the Chiefs with that bogus offensive pass interference, so we're not going to call it.
So we're never going to have a quarterback for more than 5 years. Well, no, Randy, if Purdy becomes elite, then we will pay him elite money. That's the thing. I mean, then the whole thing, you go on and then you pare down and you then also once you have an elite QB, the nice thing about that is players will take less to come play with him because people do that for Mahomes. So like, oh yeah, I could get X with this other team, or it's the Chiefs.
X go and give it to you.
I could get 80% of X, but I could get a ring. I have a legit. It could be on the team that's been to 3 out of the last 5 and won 2 of them.
That's why I'm wondering if Chase Young would think, you know what? Maybe I don't need to take market value. I'll just stay with it. It's not going to happen, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, it's a nice thought. I'm not putting it out of the question, but I mean, the other thing too is, all right, here goes. Shit, here goes. But if Chase Young plays really well, he might make Bosa expendable.
Hell nah, dude.
I'm telling you, man. I thought about it. I didn't want to say it until he played well. But the thought crossed my mind before the Jags game, and I just was careful not to even say it because I'm like, here come the pitchforks and the freaking torches. I mean, if people didn't hate me already, then for not stroking Purdy's pwn, then talk about trading Bosa, I get run out of town. But the thought occurred to me.
Now
Quarterback money, man, 35 mil. It's a lot of money, man.
It just
but he is playing well, and he is leading the league. And I don't know if you saw. Did you see the stat on QB hits?
Yeah,
leading the league, and the next highest, he's got like 17. The next highest guy is, I think, Josh Allen, the other Josh Allen, the Jags Josh Allen, has like 11 or something like that. Whoever's next was quite a bit lower. I thought that was a pretty impressive stat. I'm not a huge stats guy, as you know. I'm an eye test guy. And eye test has been pretty good on Bosa, despite him not having a lot
I don't really care about DVOA and all that other hot garbage about players, because like people are talking about. I saw a comment somewhere that said, "We're talking about Bosa. He's doing just fine. People need to relax. He leads the league, and the sacks are overrated." And I'm like, yeah, they can be overrated sometimes, but getting a quarterback down and ending drives, or putting teams in a position where they're down on the sticks, say on first down, you get a sack, and now it's first and 16, first and 17. That changes everything. Same thing with penalties. So yeah, getting a ton of sacks, but not getting a ton of pressures is probably a bad thing. But sometimes sacks do matter. Look what happened the other day. You had Bosa and Chase Young come around the corner. They both hit the quarterback, and the ball pops out. So it does matter. Everything, you know what it is with people? They want to always make their guy look good. That they never could say anything negative about a player. So we got to come out with some sideways stat that some, four-eyed nerd came up with to, I don't know, at some university.
Hey, you're making fun of glasses, man?
No, I better be careful. You'll beat me up.
No, it's fine. And honestly, they're readers. I have 20/20 vision.
I'll be getting glasses soon because my eyesight has gone really bad. So
yeah, they help, man. If you're having blurry vision, then check out the readers. They're life changing for sure. Randy Daytona officially saying we are tearing the Bucs a new bung hole. So good sound. I like the sound of that. He also said Josh is still the number one QB right now. I guess he means in Buffalo, maybe, but because I don't think anybody has him number one in the league. A lot of people don't even really have him like top 5 anymore. I might have Burrow ahead of him now. I don't know. I had Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Herbert was my solid lock top 4. I had Aaron Rodgers in there too, but with the Achilles, I'd have to.
If Aaron Rodgers is playing, then it would be Mahomes 1, Rodgers 2, and then maybe Burrow 3, and I would stop right there. I want to give no other title. I really like Josh Allen in Buffalo, but he comes up short. And I don't know, man. It's hard to say. I'm going to give them a little bit of a pass this year because I think that their offense is like archaic and they don't have a run game. But yeah, only Brock is the lead, of course.
Oh, that's funny. Am I the only things? Okay, all right. So
way to suck the old gobbledygooker, man. Just be like, yo, he's the best.
There you go. Yeah, it's crazy. Let's real quick. Let me do a quick commercial break. TED Talks Ball TTB, brought to you by TTG. They are the Travelstead Group. They do retail and hospitality logistics. It's transportation and warehousing for brick and mortar. They do fixed furniture and equipment. That's FFE. They do operating supplies and equipment. That's OSE. They do new store openings, rollouts, relocations, decommissions from the first mile to the final mile and everywhere in between. Travelstead has you covered. Let them know how they can help you via air, ocean, or land. And they do closed loop solutions for retail and hospitality. It's Nick and Henry are the two guys. Go-to guys there. Great fellas. It's 100% US based support. Complicated operations always have fine tuning at the very least, if not some snafus. It's good to know the people you talk to are here in the States, not some call center overseas where they have no clue what you do. And you check out the website. It's in the description of the show, my YouTube about page, my Twitter bio, Insta and Facebook if you follow me there. And just check out the video. It shows what they do. It's good stuff. And just make sure you tell them Ted sent you. So thanks in advance. And thank you for letting me pay the bills, Aaron. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
So Randy says he's down with TTG. I love it. Thank you.
Know me.
There you go. Smoking the Bucs on Sunday. You can take that to the bank. Fernando, 49ers throwback. Always helping to promote content creator shows.
Everybody. So he literally tries to I was going to say promote everybody.
Yeah, he is the man, the myth, the legend. So thank you for all your hard work, Fernando. It does not go unnoticed. Francisco Paco Barrera says, I never jumped on the Josh Allen trade, obviously, with his previous coach. Yeah, Dayball was helpful. In case with any QB, they apply on the right coaching, not so much under the wrong coaching. Yeah, I mean, coaching is huge, and that's one more reason that I honestly, it sucks, but I hold against Purdy is like, look, we got elite weapons, the most elite group of weapons, the most elite running back specifically. An elite defense, maybe the most. It was most elite last year, maybe the most elite again this year. We'll see. It's still early.
I can understand that argument.
And Kyle's elite, and so
I don't want to necessarily blame the guy
as
though,
a play caller at least.
But he does have a lot at his disposal to insulate him. So
when you look at what happened to Jimmy G, not only is he leading the league in interceptions, or maybe Josh Allen just passed him because Jimmy's not playing anymore. But Jimmy also was leading in least TDs thrown, or, not leading, but, he was near the bottom of
Kyle
TDs
made him look really, really good when he was here.
So Jimmy was like worst in TDs and one of the worst in worst in interceptions thrown and one of the worst in lack of TDs thrown. So, and I get it. Josh McDaniels is terrible, and obviously he got fired. And the Raiders lost some weapons before Jimmy started. Waller got shipped to the Giants. But, it's we have a cushy gig here in San Francisco. The quarterback gig, it's no quarterback gig is easy, but as far as NFL quarterback gigs go, ours is one of the easiest.
I agree with Bash in the comments. Brock is 2 notches above Jimmy, maybe 3, 100%.
Yeah, I think so
Jimmy
too.
left so many points on the field. Now that you watch Brock, how different this offense is as far as scoring points. Unbelievable. I will say this about the 49ers, and I agree with Bashar. The Niners offensive line is not elite. They do not have an elite offensive line.
Not even with Trent Williams, but especially
they have a subpar line. Subpar.
Oh, and speaking of which, I mean,
yep.
Not
Nick
a starter
out for the season.
Yeah, yep. Torn bicep. That's a bummer.
What did he tear his bicep doing? I have an idea. I don't play, so I'm just gonna
stay.
Keeping it PG, people. Keeping it PG.
He doesn't get ready. He stays ready.
That's right.
Bash says Purdy tops in QBR and QB rating. It's passer rating. Yeah. If he keeps it up, we should be good. Yeah. If he keeps that up and our weapons stay healthy and Trent Williams stays healthy, we should be good. And our defense stays healthy, we should be good. But if we have some injuries, and then you could say that about any QB, I get it. But it just really showed in those 3 games.
I think Miami is the closest thing to us as far as a team that when they're running on all cylinders and guys are healthy, you can see how efficient and how dangerous they are offensively.
Yeah.
And they're a whole different version. Tua, to me, is not a bad quarterback. I don't think he's an elite quarterback. But, man, he knows what to do with Tyreek and Waddle and all those guys.
Yeah.
They're like a track meet version of the 49ers.
Absolutely. Yeah. 4 of the 5 fastest guys in the NFL. And that's really what it came down to me for Aaron was like, people are like saying, oh, Brock's number 1 in QBR. He's number 1 in passer rating. He's the best. And I'm like, well, were you saying that when Tua was number 1 in QBR and passer rating? Because I don't think you were. So, I like to use things again.
I will say this though. There's the statistics here that I want to bring up that I told you about before the stream. You got to give Brock credit where it's due, right?
Yes.
You don't have necessarily, kiss his rear end and tell him everything's great. But where are we here? Sterling Bennett put this out. It's Where are we doing here? Through 17 games, so essentially a regular season. 13-4 record, including playoffs. 67.4 completion percentage. 3,996 yards, so right below 4,000. 32 TDs, 10 turnovers, 2-1 playoff record. That's pretty. I'm sorry. Like, yes, you can add all those things and talk about all the things that benefit him, but that's really good. It's really good. Yeah, I can't bash him for being on this. Like, I understand all your arguments, but I want to give the kid the benefit of the doubt sometimes. I feel like when I watch enough games, he is not carried, but he is insulated with a lot of talent, but he makes the best out of it. Jimmy did not. And Jimmy had a lot of these same weapons here and did not do, not even a third of what this kid does. So, yeah.
I'm with you. Randy says Ted ain't going back to jail, Aaron. You can insult him all day.
No, I saw Ted's pictures when he was a younger guy. I ain't trying to.
They'll never take me alive. That's all I can say, Randy.
Me and Ted in high school, Ted looked like a grown man, and I looked like some kid that you see on television where they ask for $3 a day to feed him. I was that guy. Like, just for $3 a day, you can feed Aaron to make him so that he can actually keep his pants up because his waist is so skinny.
Oh man, now Bash has another nickname for me to go with Technical Ted, the four-eyed nerd. I like it. I don't think Bosa is expendable. We know players who can have ears off, hold out seasons. Wilkes change has been negative. Yeah, no, I mean, our whole D line was suffering with playing the off-ball defense. Like, and that's something we should talk about. Like, how much of our success Sunday do you attribute to Wilkes coming down from the booth? Because I've said it earlier on earlier shows, but I want
45%, maybe 40%.
That's way up there.
It definitely was a difference, I think, because of communication. They also had 2 weeks to work on a lot of problems, and they had 2 weeks to get ready to have Chase Young in their lineup and figure out, this 5-man defensive line that they've been trying to, put out there that they did for a while and then they stopped. Now they have enough talent to run that line. I think he was a good 40% the reason. I think he called a really good game. I think having the players on the sidelines and getting their feedback instead of him being up in the booth, looking like he still looks super miserable. But I think that's the amount.
Ted the Bread Wow, these guys are coming up with all these nicknames. I just couldn't figure out what they're talking about all the names. Ted Purdy. I like this one. Randy Daytona called me Grateful Ted. I think gratitude is a very important thing when you're feeling down and bummed out and stuff. Like, thinking of what you're grateful for can help you. As most of us have some things maybe we don't think about all the time that can help get us out of those kind of funks.
I still don't think he's a very engaging individual.
What's that?
I still don't think he's a very engaging individual, but I think the communication was better. And I don't know. We'll see. We got to see. We got to give it a couple more weeks. We can't just say, one game, we kicked the crap out of another team who has a bad offensive line. But the Jags were coming in hot. Somebody made a good point of talking about just how impressive the Niners' 2 big wins are this year against Dallas and against the Jaguars. Like, those are 2 good teams, and the Niners essentially smoked both of them. So, yeah.
There you go. Man, there's some interesting conversations going on here in the chat. I'm not going to be able to catch up with all of it, but they're talking about food. They're talking about should all throws be catches. Francisco says, Ted, I thought you got on the Brock bandwagon. I am on the Brock bandwagon. 8-12. That's where I am.
Brock's not necessarily on the bandwagon. He's kind of standing on the side. He's in the back of the truck and he's sitting on some hay. He's not locked in with the seatbelt inside the truck.
Yeah.
So at any point, he
A
could jump
bumpy
right off the
road
back,
could
send
knock
you
you
right
out.
off, send you right off the side. I'm
That's
in the
right.
car. I'm in the front seat, with my ice cream smeared all around my mouth. Just singing the praises of BCP. Yeah.
Randy said he was the first member of the Brock flock, so he says he's got you beat.
Mike, if you want to think of the type of 49er fan that I am when it comes to Brock Purdy, think of Leonardo DiCaprio's character in What's Eating Gilbert Grape. That's me. That's how much I love him.
Rick Diaz says that chili is Italian food. Do you agree with that? Now we see why Joe Stevens was saying Purdy's elite. He'd like to see Purdy make 60 mil. I knew it.
He wants that so that the Niners can start losing pieces on their roster. I know what you're trying to do there.
Yeah, we see
you're trying
you
to dismantle the juggernaut.
Sneaky.
I had 2 Jag fans come at me before this game that one I used to work with and one I know from gaming. Both saying they were going to kick the living poop out of us, and I can't wait to talk crap after the game. Message one of them on Facebook. I tagged him. I was like, "What happened? What happened?" I was waiting for him to say something smart, and he was just like, we faced a juggernaut, and so I had to let him go. Chili is close to bolognese. Having meat in it. Pause. Yeah, but it's a little different though. But bolognese is essentially meat sauce.
Yeah.
With not a lot of tomato.
Usually some like beef, some veal, and some pork, right?
It's like when my mom makes meatballs, she uses the 3 meats: beef, veal, pork.
Yeah.
And they're the best thing ever.
So good. A big fan of the pig. Francisco is saying, what I find messed up is that elite QB money nowadays is not that much more than non-elite starter contracts.
Huh?
Yeah, no, he's because like Daniel Jones got 40 and Burrow got 55. So yeah, I kind of agree. I think like the bottom of the barrel starter is too close to what the elite guys are making compared to the difference in skill. It should be like Mahomes should be making 100, and Burrow should be making 70, and Daniel Jones. Yeah, anyway, that's probably a bad example.
He should make me like $2 million a year.
But even Russ Wilson got over 40 mil, right? I mean, and he was looking good the other night, but I don't know. Anyway, Rick Diaz is questioning Joe being here. Joe's a good friend of the channel. He's a really good friend of Ryan from No Border Sports. They do a weekly show together. So make sure you check them out. I forget. Drop the name in here, Joe. So there was a bunch of names that were kind of fun, but I like Grateful Ted. Ted Purdy, not so much. That's too close to another one that we'll leave alone. He said, I don't think Bosa is expendable. We know players can have off years. Hold out. Oh, we talked about that. All right. There was something else I felt like that I missed real quick, and then I'll shoot to the bottom. Ted Cohn, just kidding. A lot of people call me a Cohn clone. But I mean, if you pay attention, I disagree with
Ted
Grant.
Ted is a 49er fan
very often. Yeah.
Grant Cohn is a businessman on YouTube. There's a difference.
There is.
He's a businessman. Larry's a businessman.
Oh, here's the one. Here's the one I wanted. Because of some of our talk, he said, we're all going blind, man. LOL. Talking about Zakel and all these other times we mentioned the chicken pox on your Jimmy and all these.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think you guys realize how bad of a thing that can be, Oh. And you're never mind.
Well, you get scars from that, man. Yeah. I mean, I've got scars on my face.
My mom sends some meatballs, please. I want authentic Italian.
Especially if you scratch them, which I doubt you would do there. But
I don't know if they would be any good by the time they made it cross country. But she makes a very good, and they're not spicy. And people say, "Oh, I want a spicy meatball." No.
Here's another one I wanted to. Okay, so I'm the lead bird in Brock's flock. I tried to get that right. This is the one I wanted to make sure we got because Brent Smith is new. And he's saying, greetings, fellas. What are your thoughts on starting Samuel Womack outside or in the slot? Any news on his injury status? So he came back to practice last week along with Luter. And, it seems to me that Womack would be sooner to come into play than Luter, because Luter missed almost all of camp, preseason, everything. Whereas Womack, it just had an injury towards the beginning of the season that he's getting better from. So he did get all that help. And Womack was pretty good in camp. I don't know. Ambry Thomas played well, though. I mean, the main thing is, this brings me back, because I never answered my Steve Wilkes booth question. Now, you remember, and we'll get back to you, Brent, don't worry. But you remember before the whole Steve Wilkes thing, I was pretty outspoken saying I didn't think he should leave the booth, that, Vic Fangio is in the booth and Dan Quinn's in the booth, and certain personalities, like, you take him from the booth and put him on the sideline, it could be more of a negative than a positive if he's down there like brooding and, stoic when everybody's like high-fiving and excited. But clearly he was doing the right things, saying the right things. Everybody had good things to say about it. Here's my thing. I think there was an impact. I don't think it was as high as what you said, 45%. I don't know what percent I'd put on it, but maybe we can work it out after I go through this. But I think the biggest thing was moving our corners up, for not playing off this ridiculous, basically prevent defense.
It's like 12-yard cushion.
Yeah, huge cushion. They're throwing 5, 6, 7 yards as the day is long. You could just do it over again and again and again and again. If you're patient, you can just pick us apart that way. I think that was huge. I think Chase Young was huge. I think maybe the biggest thing, if it wasn't moving the corners up, it was moving Isaiah Oliver off, and only 3 snaps for Isaiah Oliver. And then
he's a bad player. He sucks.
Yeah,
straight up.
I mean, he's very good line of scrimmage, but yeah, in coverage, he's just.
We're in a passing league, though. You can't be one-dimensional.
No. He's just burnt toast, especially against fast slot receivers. He's just absolutely unplayable. And then another big thing for me was Dre Greenlaw getting healthy and playing like Dre Greenlaw again. So I would definitely put it a little lower than 45%. I don't know what it is, but I will say I was wrong when I said that he shouldn't come down from the booth, because I do think it was definitely more of a positive than a negative that he came down. So I was wrong. It's rare when I say
you guys better clip this, because Ted will probably tell you in 6 weeks that he never said he was wrong. So
at least based on Sunday, I was wrong. We'll see how it keeps going.
I don't know why I'm giving him such a high. Maybe I'll take that 45%, and I'll probably put it to about 31%.
I'm there with you. I'm there.
We'll go 31%.
I just wanted to plead my case. So with Womack, yeah, I could see him coming in for Ambry Thomas. I don't think Ambry Thomas is, invincible. But
we got to see what Ambry does against good receivers. It's one thing to go against Christian Kirk and these guys, but when we're going against the good players,
Ridley's pretty good.
True.
But yeah, the thing is that Ambry has going for him is he's got more experience, and he is a 3rd round draft pick or 3rd round comp pick, whatever, but is way higher than Womack, who was he sixth round, right? That's who Lee Gowland from the 49ers Faithful UK announced. So hopefully Lee's not listening, because I'm sure he wants Womack to play. But those are some things standing in his way, our experience and a much higher draft pick. And you can tell me whatever you want about that not mattering, and all that matters is how they play. But we all know GMs want their high picks to work out, and they will sometimes give them extra play when they wouldn't give it to somebody who was undrafted or a late round pick. That's just.
Yeah, I mean, if Ambry keeps playing well, I don't think Womack's going to see the field, but he'll be a good backup. If the struggles start to happen, then I could see them kicking Diamador DeLore back outside and bringing Womack into the slot. So in the best case scenario is what you want to happen. You want to have the 49ers not have to use Womack and just keep things the way that they are. I'm not super confident in Ambry. I don't think he's very good, but I mean, he played well on Sunday, but we got to see.
Stevo Supremo in the house. Says best trade CMC, worst trade Lance, best non-trade Watson, pretty much down with that. I would
One of the worst
say,
trades the Niners ever got was Antonio Langham. He was one of the worst trades ever.
but I think he means of this, regime.
Oh, okay.
But you got to put Trent Williams up there with CMC, especially since he was a lot cheaper. We gave for CMC, we give a second, third, fourth, and fifth. So a second and a fourth that we didn't give up for Trent Williams. It was just a third and a fifth for Trent Williams, who we saw how important he was when he was out. He and Debo, it's hard to say who, sometimes hard to split those two. Hey, real quick, also, Ryan from No Border Sports in the house. Check us out on Tuesdays, the No BS TED show. We have a lot of fun. And Ryan always has unique perspectives. I love that about him. He'll always come up with something imaginative that I never would have thought of. Amazing. Bash says, oh, hell no.
He was so bad.
So ass.
It was a game against Buffalo because I had a best friend growing up who was a big Bills fan. And he recorded that game. He was so weird. He would record games, and then when I come over, he'd play them in the background while we were eating. And I'm watching the Niners just get mollywopped. He recorded the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs. I'm like, why do you play these games when I come over to torture me? He knew I was a huge Niners fan and Montana fan. He was a huge Montana fan, even though he was a Bills fan. He loved Joe Montana. I mean, who doesn't? Well, I mean, the player.
People who hate Notre Dame and people who hate the Niners.
People, I mean, if you want to talk about Montana, the person outside of football since he retired.
Oh yeah,
yeah, he's a stuffy, like
very
rich,
awkward
Rick.
Yeah.
But player wise, he was my favorite player growing up, 100%.
Yeah, that's what got you to be a Niners fan.
Yep,
Randy Daytona says, I clip everything. I'm starting a 24-hour TED Talks all channel. Oh,
well, that's weird. A little stalkerish.
Hey, that's fine.
It's a little stalkerish, Randy.
Randy is what he's almost always in almost all my shows.
No,
and he comes up with great stuff. He has funny stuff. He drops bars. He named my Monday show that I voted for Pedro show. I
named this show, guys. I'm smart, right? Am I smart?
Yeah, you nailed it. We got Charles Drake in the house, your buddy, saying, Aaron, how a KC show?
No, Charles. Charles knows he knows that the Chiefs are a sore subject to me. He likes to poke the bear. He doesn't even like football. Him and my one friend who used to come in here, he's a truck driver, so he doesn't really have time to jump on here anymore. They would just come in here and talk about like Family Guy and how much did he love the Chiefs, just to piss me off.
And it works. They've got it down to science. Here's something else.
Thanks, Charles. Appreciate that.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah, we played that game Elder Scrolls Online together. It's
nice.
Online MMO.
I was wondering, you had that comment in there. I didn't know. I couldn't figure out what that was all about.
I'm actually there's some new content that just dropped called the Endless Archive, where you essentially just do dungeons nonstop. Nice.
I used to love D&D and Diablo Online. I played that a lot. The crazy hardcore version where when you die, like not only does your character die and you can't revive them, but like if you don't have your buddies there to salvage all your gear, then you lose your gear too, which is extra painful.
That would suck because the gear that I have on the game that I'm playing right now took me a long time. It was all droppable. You have to get it in dungeons. Like it's not craftable. And like, it took me a while. So like if somebody could steal that off of me, especially the ring that I have, I would quit the game tomorrow. I'd be like, nope. So I'm glad that ESO doesn't have that problem.
Aaron's precious.
Damn right.
Don't take the ring.
It's the only ring in my life I'm probably ever going to have. So.
Oh, stop it. You got plenty of time. You want to see me trolling? I'll give you trolling. Randy Daytona. Here we go. It's on.
You see me trolling.
On as a turnover leader.
Aaron's chat. Beanie. What's that? Alan is a turnover leader.
Yeah, but remember a couple of those years were when he was inaccurate and had no weapons, right? So I really only count.
You got to get on those turnovers, man.
He got digs. And even still, Diggs is his only elite weapon, just like Mahomes only has Kelsey. Allen only has, as far as elite weapons, only has Stephon Diggs. I don't
If he
consider
couldn't
any
run,
other
if
of
he
those
couldn't
guys elite.
run, his elite status would drop.
It would, because he runs fast and he's a beast. They list him at 237. I guarantee you he's above 247.
And he's with Haley Steinfeld.
Oh, I didn't know about that. That's
He's
well,
cute.
you're in Rochester, so you get your in on. It's not like somebody
Well, I
was
know who
saying
Haley
that,
Steinfeld is. She was in that 2019 movie or 2018 movie Bumblebee.
I think it was Randy was saying I was a Swiftie because I used Bad Blood, which is one of her songs.
Hey, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me.
Yeah, well, that's what I said. Like,
that's
all
your
these dudes
song.
dump you, right, yo.
That's
Like,
your
at some point, you got to look in the mirror and be
right.
like, what am I doing to cause
No,
this?
that's your song with all the trouble that you start on Twitter. I'm the problem. It's me.
I've been mellow on Twitter lately. Ever
I'm
since
just
my
messing with you.
anniversary, I've been like staying clear of that toxicity. It's been nice. Honestly, I still get on there to get ideas and see what people are talking about. But
hey, you got a bunch of people that freaking follow you. So, and people go say, "Oh, he just has takes just to have takes." No, you put up a lot of you put up a lot of ammunition behind your takes. You don't just say weird stuff just for the
and I
sake of it.
stick
Like,
by them.
and
They're
as
not
far
hot
as
takes. My only hot take, it wasn't a hot take, but my only clickbait I ever did, we talked about it, right? Where it was like the gambling scandal at Iowa State and some guy like Ishmael or Isaiah Brock got busted. I'm like, oh, Brock busted for gambling at Iowa State. And everybody thought I meant Brock Purdy. I'm like, why did you do it, Ted? I'm like, because people accuse me of it all the time. And I wanted to see what it felt like. And I wanted to warn you, like, this is what it could feel like for you with me doing this all the time. So
I've had a couple
thumbnails
that were a little bit on the clickbait side, but that, I mean, everybody does it. As long as you're not saying
putting up Nick Wright today.
What's that?
Like me putting up Nick Wright today.
Oh, you have to. I mean, Nick Wright, I told you Nick Wright is, guys. He's the guy in school who got his books dumped every single day. He got wedgies, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to grow up. I'm going to go to college and be really smart, and I'm going to go on TV and talk like I'm some sort of badass on a huge network. And that's pretty much what's happened.
Chili's close to Bullnose. All right, I'm caught up there. And you know what had happened is just like I went on when I was going to make the thumbnail for the show to promote it. And I was like, I wanted to find a bunch of QB rankings that didn't have Brock in the top 5. And there was like nobody reputable had a freaking QB ranking. And not that really Nick Wright is that reputable, but he's on a network and there was like a big picture. And rather than just a list on a Twitter tweet, X tweet, whatever we're calling it.
Who's worse, Nick Wright or Orlowski, loudmouth Orlowski?
Nick Wright, because Orlowski played.
Yeah, if that's what you want to call what he did and played.
He Jimmy G'd out of the back of the end zone and all, but he played quarterback in the NFL. He got paid. Like Nick Wright, I don't think he probably played sports in college, which neither did I. That's full disclosure, but
I didn't either.
But I'm also not a national network guy either. So, all right, let's scoot down to the bottom and see where we're at. Do we want to talk about Bucs at all? I mean, yeah. Randy says we're gonna destroy.
Let's talk about the Bucs.
So is there anything to talk about? It's a slam dunk?
I think the 49ers in this game, they have a really good turnover ratio there as far as like taking the ball away. So the Niners have to be really, really cautious and conscientious of playing good, sound, as far as ball control and not turning the ball over. And they have weapons on offense. They have Godwin. They have what's that?
Evans.
Yeah.
Rashad White, I think, is a really good young running back.
They'll have a challenge. The thing is here is, they tore up Tom Brady and company last year with essentially the same roster on offense coming back. So, if their quarterback is who we think he is, then we just got to get pressure on him and the rest will take care of itself. But this is definitely, I think, more of a test, honestly, on the Niners defense, even with their quarterback being who he is. So
Baker.
there's no way in the NFL that you could call any game a sure thing to be beat. With the way the Niners played during that 3-game stretch, and played really bad, like they are not clear of anything yet. They need to come out again this week and bust Tampa's ass and beat them soundly.
Yeah, no doubt about it, and prove that it wasn't a
I would
fluke.
assume they're going to blitz a lot because of their defense coordinator, and that kind of helps Brock. Brock is really good against the blitz.
As
If
long
they
as you
sit
got
back,
Debo and CMC and Kittle as blitz beaters, one of those guys is going to be open on the hot routes. So yeah, and then they're going to destroy him with Yak. Absolutely. Randy says that's a good meet the ball. That's not how he spelled it, but that's how I heard it.
that's okay. That's pretty much what I thought too.
Okay, cool. Just want to make sure. So David McNiner in the house. Check out his channel, everybody. Jason Niner Smash Massey in the house, and
Always repping.
hello, Faithful. He's Niners Faithful Radio. Check out his channel. Give these guys likes and subscribes. Bryant Culp wouldn't be Bryant if he didn't have something like this.
Did we ever determine what kickers are elite? Oh, Brian, let's not talk about that.
I mean, it's the Ravens kicker, Tucker. What's his name?
Tucker's pretty much the guy. You know what I don't understand?
I feel like Butker for the Chiefs is pretty good too.
How
Tucker and Butker.
Moody still gets iced.
I gotta pause that one. Sorry.
What did I say?
No, I said Tucker and Butker. Like,
that's a good.
That's a definite pausable moment.
Pause. My hair is getting really long, guys. Check it out.
Who are we saying? We're saying Tucker. Well, I don't even know. I don't even keep track, honestly.
I don't really keep track of kickers either. I just think Tucker, and that's it. Yeah. That's my argument. Moody is. He makes your butthole clench when you watch games. Pause.
Did you see Ryan Hensley's tweet about it this week?
Mm-mm.
He said one definition of Moody is unpredictable. Damn, that's good. That was top notch, almost dad joke-ish. Yeah, but Moody's perfect since the Bengals game, right? He was perfect in the Bengals game, perfect. So keep it up, Mooney. He can put this behind him. I have no doubt.
His face is so punchable, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, and there were some ugly ones though in Jacksonville, that's for sure. And and like there's this one guy who I think his name is Chris Oak, Ouk, and every time he's like, "Oh, there's your kicker," because I defended him. I said, "I think he'll be good." And he's like, "Oh, did you see how close he came to missing?" And I'm like, "Dude, there's no pictures on the freaking box score, bro. If he makes them all, I don't care what they look like." We said that earlier before he started missing. We were saying the same thing, like, yeah, they're ugly, and maybe we'll miss because of that. But for now, he's not missing, and I'm not going to grouse about it.
The Niners just need to whoop everybody's butt, and then they don't got to worry about this. He's very easily affected by timeouts.
Yeah,
we can be assured of that.
Iceable.
Which is ridiculous because he played at Michigan in bad weather and played huge college football games. Like, I don't understand.
Jake the Frozen Lake Moody.
It's a pretty good one.
It's all right.
That's a pretty good one.
I've had better. Moody. At least people aren't saying Moody is duty anymore. That's
Moody is duty. He's a Rudy Poo candy ass. That's what he is.
I think he means Moody is much better from the left side.
Left side?
He was getting leg fatigue kicking 3 times.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, Steve-O. Stop it.
I'll give him leg fatigue.
Ryan Hensley also said that pig is in a pickle. Oh, man. Yeah. I mean, if you think Larry and I have beef, Ryan and Larry have huge beef. He came up and when Ryan was on my show, he was like, "I don't want to talk about him." I'm like, "Okay, I won't talk about him. Never mind." Laura Cat says,
"That's like with me with somebody else, somebody I don't like." Just don't talk about him.
Yeah. Laura Cat says, "Aaron's hair is fire. You gotta. There you go. Keep showing a couple times for show. You could do it OnlyFans
Just from my giant ass forehead and my hair. Yeah.
Yeah. Why
I'll just
not?
show this part. Like it's like, man, yeah, he literally could put your whole hand on his forehead.
Whatever pays the bills, man. That's what I say. 6 games won by a kicker this week. What? Which games were they, Steve-O? Kickers are players too. Bryant says kickers are people too, but they are. I don't know
The
if they're
Bills game
players.
was won by a kicker.
Yeah. Oh man.
After he completely
I think it was lost by the 12th man on the field. I think it was more than it was won by anybody.
I told my brother before.
Oh,
the original
speaking of
one,
which,
I was like, watch him miss, and he did.
I meant to mention it earlier, but if you guys haven't watched Annie Agar's weekly wrap up, I quote tweeted. I said, "Wait for it," because there's a little thing right at the end about that. Really, really funny. She's great. I love her. Smart and funny.
I love Annie Agar.
Oh yeah. Shoo, easy on the eyes. Yeah. Dudes, Chase and Nick are gonna hunt Baker. Baker, you good? He's not gonna be good. At least he's got Wirfs to protect his blind side. That's the one good thing for Baker, but that's probably going to be Bosa. So everything else is going to be trouble.
If everybody can ooh and ah about Jimmy, we can say nice things about Annie Agar. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the double standard.
It's a double standard, man. It's a double standard. Chicks don't get in trouble for it, dude. We become creepy old men.
I say one thing, and it's like, cancel him.
Doug Bryan.
Get his big ass forehead off of YouTube. No.
The last real deal kicker. Doug Bryan. Wow, that's taking me back.
That was a Super Bowl year, right?
What? I don't think so.
And our punter was what? Klaus Wilmsmeyer?
Oh, Super Bowl, you mean 95?
Yeah.
Oh, could be. I don't remember. I don't remember who was our kicker back then, I'll be honest. I'm going to claim ignorance. Too soon to call Moody elite. He needs to win a Super Bowl.
Jeez. Come on, Brian. You are...
That's awesome. Just to riff on your tweet from today, though, that was pretty perfect. You
Brian, if they end up losing some games and he misses some kicks, will you burn his jersey live on air?
Never.
I was with Brian. I was a big fan of him being drafted too. I was excited. And then the freaking preseason happened. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me, bro. Like, really? In a dome? You get iced in a dome indoors in the preseason? Yeah. Is Moody? Stop it.
That is great.
Are we going to pay him his 5th-year option? Like, what else are you going to ask?
Oh, I did not understand this one. I'm going to claim ignorance.
Ted, are you looking for someone as big as Brock Donger? Brock in the bottom half? Hello.
Heyo. I think I get it, but the answer is probably no. Acho's worse. DK Metcalf has more tackles in the NFL than him. Acho's terrible. But I did like his thing of where he was like pretending to be asleep on there, and they woke him up, and he was like, all right, everything I said about the Niners, they proved me wrong.
Who? Acho?
Emmanuel Acho. He had to eat some crow this week.
Freaking like, I talk really cool. I can pronounce things really cool.
Him and James
really
Jones
loud.
and Shady McCoy are all huge Niner haters. They all anything negative they'll come up with it for us, guaranteed. Did we ever okay? So all right. So there we go. So I think we're kind of wrapping up here. We got Joseph Niner Joe in the house. Joseph Mahoney, welcome. Brock the Glock Purdy. Brock is elite, baby. Let's effing go. Good to see you, Joe. But I'm coming up on my daddy duty.
Yeah, I'm coming up on eating some rigatoni.
Yeah, this is a long
rigatoni and pasta.
Well, let's just thank everybody who came out. The list is long, so I'm not going to go through everybody, but I do want to specifically call out Nancy Cameron and Redjet Shell, who joined my first 2 members of TED Talks Ball. Had that up for a while. I probably need to put some cooler stuff as perks from it, but at least they get the little cool icon. Maybe I can make that look cooler or something. But I want to thank Aaron, obviously, every week putting up with me. The toothache that never goes away. And
that's me.
And no, I am a toothache.
You're my toothache, though.
Oh, stop it. No.
Stop
Uh,
it. Just settle down. Stop it.
and we'll just say beat the Bucs. Peace and go Niners.
And F those lambs, like David McNiner always says.
F those Lambs.